everyone, it's Sylvia here from Casino Library and welcome back to another Create, Make, Share. In this session today, I'd like to show you how to make beads out of paper. That's right, we're going to use some of our old magazines or any junk mail that you might have on hand, and we're going to roll them up into paper beads. So let's take a look at what one. So grab any old magazines that you're finished with. I've just got some card making magazines here to use. You'll need some scissors, a ruler, a skewer, some wool or yarn to thread our beads onto, and some craft glue. And if you have it, a glue stick as well. If not, we'll make do with our craft glue. You want a good quality craft glue there. And if you prefer a paper trimmer. So to make our beads, firstly, this is what they look like. These are a couple that I've been playing with. Hard to believe that they're made from paper. It's something I've been wanting to try for a while, so I've finally plucked up the courage and I've had a go. And this necklace that I'm actually wearing today is made from paper. I know, who would have thought? And it is so much fun and super, super easy. So let's get started. Start by flicking through your magazine and looking for pages that have lots of colour. So this page here's got some colour spots, but also a little bit too much white for my liking. These pages would work well, where you've got the tonings of your soft creams through to pinks and reds. They work really well. So flick through. Here's another one, those blues and yellows. Perfect. So flick through your magazine and find a few pages that you'd like. And we're just going to remove them as we go along, as we see them. So let's pop back and take out this one as well. And I want you to continue doing that. Oh, this one is gorgeous. We're going to use that as well. All right. Go through and find as many pages as you'd like to use. And we'll come back and we'll get them cut out. So let's do that. Once you've selected the pages you'd like to use, we're going to cut them lengthways in about 3 centimetre strips. And we're going to do that for all of those pages there. Here's some strips I had prepared earlier. Have a look at both sides and decide which one you want to be the outside of your bead. So I'm really liking the colours that I have here, so I'm going to put that face down on my table. And we're going to roll these 3 centimetre strips into what's called a paper reed. So to do that, take your skewer and we're going to place it on an angle across the corner. So you're going to place it something like that. We're going to actually tuck that little edge in underneath the skewer and we're going to start rolling that strip around our skewer. And as we go, I'm just going to gently feed that paper, keeping some tension on it. And if it comes undone, don't worry. You just start rolling again. Once you get the hang of it, you'll be doing this in no time. You might like to lay your skewer down and just roll it to start. I try to keep most of my paper on the length of the skewer. That just helps me with my rolling and keeps it fairly uniform. And just guiding that paper so that it's coming up until you're left with this small triangular area here. Now I'm going to take my glue stick and I'm going to add glue here so that I can seal or finish my paper reed. So just some of your glue stick onto that triangle area and finish rolling it and just holding your fingers over that area there where you've just put the glue. Just make sure it's nice and firm. Careful not to roll your paper so tight that you can't get it off your skewer. And ta-da, there we have it, one paper reed ready to go. All right, let's do another one. So this time, looking at my strip, and I'm going to use this side as my outside of reed because it's got a little bit more colour to it. So laying your strip down, laying your skewer up just a little, so you've got an elongated triangle to start with, like there. You may find it just as easy just to set it down, tuck your tail under, give that skewer a roll, and your paper will start rolling for you. Just guiding it along the skewer there. Once we get towards the end, we've got this little triangle piece. We're going to add our glue and just roll that round a couple of times for the glue to take. And there you have it. Another bead ready. Another paper reed ready. So for today, to make the necklace that I'm wearing here. So this bead here is made up of 3 paper reeds. The next size is made up of 2 paper reeds, and the smallest ones are made up of 1 reed. So we're going to need 3, 5, 7, 9 reeds all together to make this necklace. And it is super easy. All right, so get those strips rolled until you've got enough reeds ready. Here's all my paper reeds ready to go. Don't they look great? Just like that. Who'd have thought paper could be so versatile and a wonderful way to recycle, upcycle, reuse any papers. You can even use newspaper, you could use strips of scrapbooking paper, card making paper, anything that you've got laying around, because I really don't like waste. I'm always looking for a way to use those leftover pieces and strips that are laying around my craft room. Okay, we're going to make the largest bead first. So we're going to need 3 reeds to make that one. All right. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is join our reeds end to end into one long reed. So you'll see that I can slip one end of this reed into the end of the other one. And I'm going to grab my good craft glue and just pop a little bit of glue around this one that's going to slide inside, like that. And I'm going to slip that, inside there. That end's a little bit larger. Give it a little press, and that's just going to give us one long paper reed to work with. So we're joining 3 of them, and this end here is going to slide inside this one here like that. So I'm going to wrap a little bit of glue around that. Use your good craft glue, your better glue. Your glue stick's not quite enough for this, because we want it to hold. Slide that inside your other one. Bit of a squeeze, bit of a press. Okay. So we've got 3 paper reeds joined up to make our first bead. I'm going to pop that aside for a moment just to dry. Now we're going to join 2 reeds together to make the next smallest bead that's on my necklace today. So take 2 of them, and I want you to join them in the same way. I want you to slip one inside the other, little bit of glue. And I want you to do 2 sets of those. So you'll need 2 sets of 2 reeds joined together. And this smallest bead here, we want 1 reed for each of those. So just grab 2 2 paper reeds and put those aside. Okay, let's grab that first one. So we're going to be making this largest bead here, which is made up of 3 individual reeds all joined together. So the first thing we need to do is flatten them, because at the moment they're a tube because we wound them around our skewer. So I just like to grab a ruler, probably the easiest, and press it flat. So just working your way, just start at one end. I'll turn that around and just keep working your way along, gently flattening that reed, getting it ready for the next step, which is to roll that around our skewer. Don't worry if it gets a little bit more open one end, that's fine. So there we have our long reed, which has been flattened. What we do now is take our skewer, starting at one end, just wrap your strip around, tuck your tail under, and just rolling along, keeping it as even as you can, which is starting to roll up our bead. Alright, I'm just going to slip my skewer off because I get to the point where I actually find it easier to hold, now that I've got that rolling started, to hold that between 2 fingers and use my other hand just to guide that along. Now I'm going to add some glue just on this strip here, just a little bit of glue every now and then along the strip, just to help hold that bead in place, because there's nothing worse than getting it rolled up almost to the end and it unravels. So you can do it the whole way along if you want to, but I find just doing it intermittently works fine. And so my bead is starting to take shape. I always thought these were so much more harder than they looked. Mind you, it did take me a little bit to work them out. There's so many different ways that you can make paper beads. But I find this is one of the easiest and most effective. And I can make small beads, large beads. Like I said, I can use junk mail, I can use catalogues, I can use magazines that I'm finished reading. I could go and grab some scrapbooking paper strips. I could grab a newspaper, anything at all that you've got on hand, just to practice and give it a go. I've tried it with cardstock, but it can get a little bit thick, and some scrapbooking papers are a little bit heavy. I just found that the magazine paper and newspaper was ideal, and especially the magazine paper because it's already got a bit of a gloss to it. It's a little bit of glue to finish that one off. One rolled bead. Now you'll just want to hold that down till the glue takes. You will want a damp cloth or some wipes or something handy, because you will get quite a bit of glue on your fingers and it'll get really tacky and you'll start sticking to everything you don't want to stick. I'm just going to join up another set of reeds. Now you might decide or find it easier to flatten each reed first before we glue them together, and that's totally up to you, totally fine. You might actually find it easier to do it that way rather than joining them all and then trying to flatten that big length of paper reed. So just flatten them out. You're going to join 4 together. So I'm actually going to join them the same way, slipping one inside the other, just like that. Just gives a little bit more added strength in your join. We're just starting that rolling process. and working your way along the reed, just taking your time and rolling it as evenly as you can. And once you get started, you'll find it just takes off beautifully. Just going to swap it over. So now I'm going to pop a little bit of glue just along here, just every so often, just so that, actually I'm going to slip that off. I just find it easier. You may or may not find that helpful. A little bit more glue. So work your way along the edge right to the length of that reed. Okay, so once you get to the end, make sure you put plenty of glue along there and just keep rolling that up, just with a little bit of pressure on that tail to finish off, just till the glue takes up. That's all you need to do. All right, so there we have. So that one I've rolled with 4 reeds. This one I've rolled, so four paper reeds joined together and 3 paper reeds joined together. So you can see the difference in size of those. And look, each time you make one, you're not going to get them identical in size because it is handmade. Each one will be slightly different, but that is the beauty of it. They're looking nice, look a little bit vintage with that, those pinks and browns showing through. Okay, so I've finished rolling on my beads. So I have my larger bead, which was made with 4 paper reeds. This next size down was made with 3, and this little one I made with 1 reed. Now, depending on how tightly you roll your beads, because we will all roll them with a different tension, you may find that you want to add an extra round of paper, so an extra reed, or you might want to take one away. It's up to you. So if you want that to be actually a little bit larger, just add another reed to it, to any of those beads there, if you want to make them a bit bigger. Okay, so we're going to start threading our beads. I've got a length of, I've actually got some black wool here to use. What we're going to do is thread one end of our wool, going in one direction, passing through the bead. Pop some tape on the ends of those tails if you find that easier, or use your skewer to poke it through. And the other end, is going to pass through, coming back through the other way, so passing through on the other direction, so that they actually and pulling them up. Like that. Okay. So one end of my thread, so I passed through this way, the other end passed through the center of the bead that way, and I've pulled it up tight. Now I want to try and get those tails even, if I can. So grab those tail ends and just jiggle your string till you've got your tails even and your bead. Because what we'll do now is bring that back along. I want to have a 25 to 30 centimetre distance between my bead and this end that has the loop in it. And what we're going to do is I'm actually going to cut that loop because I want to tie a knot on this side of the bead to hold it in place. Okay, so I've tied a knot there on that end, and that is going to position my first bead nicely. So there's our first bead on. Okay, so laying this one flat, take your next size bead, take the top thread, so the one that's coming up through the top of the bead here, thread that through your bead. Okay. So threading it through, pulling that up, so that top thread has come up and is going through our bead. This bottom thread is going to thread through the bead, coming back from the other direction. And I'll just grab my skewer and poke that through. Okay. So one thread passes one way, one thread passes the other, so that they're actually crossing each other when they go through the center. And bring that along so it's sitting next to that first bead that we strung. And there we have 2 beads on. So now we're going to take the largest bead, which will sit in the center of our necklace like mine. So again, take that top one, pass it through the bead, pass it through the hole, pull it through. Okay, so that's the top thread coming up and going through that hole. This bottom one is going to pass back through the opposite direction. So they're crossing each other. And poke it back through the other way. That's all there is to it. Pulling your threads. Just, so there you have. You've got 3 beads on there now. That'll make a nice necklace going that way too. Maybe we'll do that another day. Alright, again, with your top thread, take the next size down bead, so that's the bead that's going to sit next to your center one. Thread through. Poke you all through. You want to go, of course. Right, poke that through. If you find you push the center of your bead out at the same time, just pop it back in. Okay, so this thread, top thread's come up and passed through. This bottom one here is going to pass through in the opposite direction. If you find a skewer's too big, you can use a toothpick to pop that thread through. And holding the other one out of the way helps. Right, so there we go. Pull your threads, pull your 2 tails. Slide that one along. Okay, 1 to go. And our smallest bead to finish off, so that'll go on the end. Same thing. Take your top thread, poking through that center hole, pull it up tight. Okay. So my top threads come up and pass through the bead. This one will pass through the bead, but it'll go in the opposite direction. It'll pass back through the other way. Right. Slide your bead along, pushing it up against that other one, and look at that. beads are all threaded on. So what do we do now? Just as we tied a knot to secure our first bead, we'll do the same. We're just going to knot this off. And it's best when you're cutting your thread initially, or whatever you want to use, your cord to thread your beads onto, you're better off to have a little more than a little less. You can always cut some off if it's too long at the end, but we certainly can't add it back on. So just, okay. So now those beads can't go anywhere, they're in place, they're tied off, beautiful. Now all I'm going to do, and there's lots of fancy ways we could tie off our necklace, but you know what? I'm just going to come and find my shortest piece of thread. I'm kind of going to cut the others back to there. Make sure I haven't got any twists in my yarn. Wrap it around. I'm going to knot that off. Level off my ends, and voila, one set of magazine pages that have been upcycled into paper beads, and we have one very unique and individual necklace. So have fun with that. It is just open to so many possibilities. You can, make heaps of beads and glue them together in all sorts of combinations. I just think that is so much fun and so cool and really quite quick and easy. So next time you're looking for something a little bit different to pop on with your outfit, you haven't quite got the colours, skim a magazine, roll a few strips of paper, thread them up, and there you will have your very own paper bead necklace. I know I'm going to make some more. They're great fun. So if you've enjoyed today's Create, Make, Share and these beautiful rolled paper beads that we've made, and you'd like to have a go at it yourself, we'll put together some grab and go kits. Now in that kit, we will have some pre-cut strips of paper for you. Won't be able to guarantee the colour combinations, but I'm sure they'll be tasteful. We'll pop together some pre-cut strips for you, ready for you to roll, and we'll make sure there's plenty there, and some thread, and pretty much all you'll need to grab from home is your glue, a skewer, and away you go. It's that simple. Rolled paper beads. Thanks for joining us, and if you do create something following our workshop today, we'd love to see your creations. Please upload them in the comments below, and we'll see you real soon with another Create, Make, Share. Thanks for watching. And remember, if you'd like to receive updates when new content is added to our YouTube channel, please click the subscribe button. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you next time with another Create, Make, Share.